And this weekend, we got a big slate coming up. Premier League is back, La Liga is back, and so we got to dive right into that. And there's quite a bit to dive into. Before I talk about that, though, just want to ask you, how's your week been going? Whether you're a casual bettor, degenerate gambler, somewhere in the middle, you having a good week so far? Because I know what can make it a little better, and that is a subscription to BetQL. Now, I can't guarantee you'll win every bet, but I can guarantee you'll probably win a lot more than you are right now. With promo code Rotz, you can get 20% off your BetQL subscription. Check the link below, and you can see some of our prices we got going on. So with that being said, let's dive right into it. I'm going to take a look at a few Premier League games first and then check out what's going on in La Liga. The first game I got for us is going to be on Saturday afternoon. A battle between Crystal Palace and Southampton. With this one, you can see I'm going to be riding with Southampton on this one, plus 143. Crystal Palace finished last year 14th. And if you were watching them at all last year, their biggest problem was they just struggled to score goals. They scored the third fewest goals in the Premier League. And in their final 9 games, they were scoreless in 6 of those. A big issue was Wilfried Zaha. He's their superstar. He's that, supposed to be that incredible forward, supposed to carry this team. And he really struggled last year out. 4 goals, only 3 assists. And for someone that's the catalyst for your offense, that's just not going to do it. Going into this season, they made a pretty solid move. They signed Abarachi Easy over from Queen's Park Rangers, a really dynamic forward. It plays out on the wing, and I think it really has the potential to be maybe a breakout player in the Premier League this year. In the Championship, he had 14 goals, 8 assists, and I really do believe he can continue those kinds of performances in a top flight. Looking over at Southampton, they were really one of the surprises of the post-restart. Led by Danny Ings and his 22 goals, they were able to finish their last 9 games going 5-3-1. So only 1 loss. They were able to keep 3 clean sheets during that period too, one of them being against Man City in a surprising 1-0 victory over them. This form was good enough to get them over to 11th. And I do expect kind of the similar kind of style and play and performances from Southampton going into this season. I don't think they're a team that needs to be worried about being relegated. They're a team that should be aiming really for a top table finish. So with that, I'm going to be rocking with Southampton plus 143 on Saturday. The next game we got going on is going to be a battle between a newly promoted side and one who's really got their roots firmly planted in the Premier League now these days. West Brom versus Leicester City. For this one, we got to rock under 2.5 at minus 112. West Brom, like I mentioned before, recently promoted from the Championship. They were the runners-up in England's second tier last season. Really, based off of their just incredible offense, were able to score a ton of goals. A lot courtesy of Mateus Pereira. He's a Brazilian attacking mid with 16 assists for them last season. Was, the engine that really made that team go. The defense wasn't as impressive as, say, another promoted team like Leeds United, but they were good enough to get the job done. They were able to secure 17 draws. And so one word I always like to use is gritty. This is a West Brom team that's gritty, finds ways to secure points, and I expect that kind of mentality to continue on in the Premier League. We'll see if they have the talent to stay up, but I do think that kind of style should ride with them throughout the season. Looking over at Leicester, what more can really be said about Leicester? Last season, they were riding in second place for most of the season until we got halfway through, until about January, December, and their form just teetered off completely until finally they dropped all the way to 5th in the last week of the season after, like I said, maintaining that top 4 position for so long. A big reason for that was going like I mentioned, the entire second half of the season was terrible, but their final 8 games. They went 2-3-4, 2 just humiliating losses at the end of the season. 1 to Man United, 2-0, while they're battling for the championship life. For their Champions League life, and a 3-0 drubbing to Tottenham Hotspur right before that one. And you can just go on and on about some of those dreadful performances they put out there all season. So that's why I'm reluctant to bet on this game. Leicester is going to be really bolstered by their defense. I think we're going to see them play with a back 3, even though it wasn't as successful for them at the end of last year. I think it allows them to highlight their defensive strength, which should be manned by Johnny Evans, Kagalar Sayonku, and recent loanee return Filip Benkovic as a back 3. So I think we're going to see under in this one. I think under 2.5 at -112 is the best line on this game. I'm just not trusting any of these teams just yet. We're going to see how they are. The next game is, okay, some people might say I'm biased. I don't think I am here, but we have Tottenham Hotspur versus Everton. So 2 teams that really undergone a big transformation over the past 12 months. With Tottenham, obviously, in the beginning of last season, Mauricio Pochettino was sacked. In comes Jose Mourinho. And for most of the season, it was a mixed bag of results. Post-restart, though, we start to see Mourinho really impose his style and his tactics on the team. They went 5-3-1 over that time period. Their one loss just being a humiliating defeat to Sheffield United. But they were able to keep 4 clean sheets over those final 9 games, including one against Everton, in which was just a very hectic, chaotic game to watch. Both teams seemed to struggle to really put together consistent offense or just offensive plays that were effective. For Tottenham, though, they're going to hope that some of the reasons for that chaoticness last season will be improved by 2 of their recent signings, who will definitely, I'd imagine, be starting out there on Saturday. Got Emil Per Højbjerg, Dutch midfielder, comes in, is a really just hard-working defensive grinder out there. That's perfect for what Mourinho is going to be looking for. And then over at right back, we were going to see Serge Aurier replaced with Matt Doherty, who I think should give them a bit more solid defensive formation back there, as well as adding, less defensive laps as Serge Aurier is known for. For Everton, like I said, they want to go on a transformation as well. Carlo Ancelotti took over for them in December of last year. This was an Everton team that was languishing near the bottom of the standings, really struggling. Ancelotti came in. They produced some solid results immediately after he takes over, and then they started to hit the bumps in the road with him. In their final 9 matches, they went 3-3-3. One of the most embarrassing losses for them came in the last game of the season, where they lost 3-1 to Bournemouth. Granted, this was a Bournemouth team fighting for their life against relegation, going as hard as possible, and an Everton team with not much to fight for or play for at all. But still, 3-1, that's not how you want to end your season. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So far in their friendlies, they're 1-1-0. And what's going to be interesting to see out of Everton tomorrow is their new signings. I already talked about the guys that Tottenham's going to have out there tomorrow or on Saturday. It's going to be interesting to see if we see James Rodriguez, Allen from Napoli, and Abelard Doucouré in midfield for Everton come this upcoming game. Those are their 3 new signings. Right over there, you're looking at over $70 million in player sales or spent in net spend between those 3. So can they produce the results? I mean, they certainly have the talent to do it. I think Everton's bigger problem right now is going to be at the back end. And that's why I got to give the edge here to Tottenham. Tottenham -120. I wouldn't be surprised if this line just kind of stays around there, but I think Hotspur has enough to take it over. And as well as being a low-scoring game, if we all know Jose Mourinho. If he gets a 1-0 lead, they'll park the bus back there. So I think 2 goals is the most we see out of this game, taking into account as well the last time they played was a 1-0 win for Hotspur. Our last game for the Premier League slate is going to be one that takes place on Sunday. And it's one which this line has really shocked me. It's actually moved just a little bit since I checked it out this morning. It's Chelsea versus Brighton. So Chelsea's really been the talk of the Premier League over the past few weeks, and for good reason. They've spent over $200 million on player signings over the past couple months, highlighted by guys like Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, Ben Chilwell was brought in, and Thiago Silva was brought in on a free transfer. And this was a Chelsea team that was definitely one of the most high-powered scoring offenses last year, scoring the 3rd most goals in the league. And now they've added wonder kids like Havertz, Werner, and Ziyech is not a wonder kid. He's 26, but incredibly talented, incredibly intelligent on the pitch, and just one of the best playmakers, potentially one of the best playmakers in the Premier League once we see him get acclimated in there. Chelsea's biggest problem, though, wasn't their offense. It was really that back end. It was really their defense. They gave up 54 goals last year, which was the most of any of the teams that finished in the top 10 last year. So we'll see if guys like Silva can step in and really impose themselves immediately. We're not going to see Chilwell on Sunday. He's going to have to wait to make his debut. He's dealing with a bit of an injury. So we'll probably still see Marcus Alonso, who started many of the games last year for them. With that being said, though, Brighton doesn't have much to compete against the kind of talent that Chelsea's going to put out there. They're still looking for their first win against Chelsea. They've lost 5 games and drawn 2 against Chelsea in their 7 Premier League matches against each other. The only time Brighton has ever actually pulled out a victory was over in a friendly back in 2012. So they're looking for that first official win. If they're going to get it, it's going to be off the back of someone like Neil Maupay, who led the team in goals last year with 10. They're going to need to get him started. And someone who has a lot of talent on the team and still has to get accommodated to the Premier League is Alexi McAllister. He's an Argentinian who brought over from Boca Juniors last year. Could this be his breakout year? Maybe. What I can say for sure is that it definitely won't be this game at least resulting in a victory, because I think Chelsea takes this one minus 159. Last year, near the end of the season, with lines minus 159, Chelsea was pretty good to cover that. So I'm going to continue to ride with them there. So that takes care of the Premier League games. There's plenty more going on this weekend. If you want to check them out and hear about my picks for those, check me out at Twitter at Gary Danza or Instagram at FairPlayQL, where I post picks and other predictions. So heading on to La Liga. La Liga is the other major league starting this weekend. La Liga is the Spanish league, for those of you that don't know, and certainly one of the most popular, houses teams like Real Madrid and Barcelona, and teams like Granada versus an Atletico Bilbao. Interesting matchup here. I like this line quite a bit at plus 180. So I think Granada is just really trending in the right direction right now, and I think they're going to continue it this season. They were promoted to La Liga the year before. So last year was their first year in La Liga. They managed to finish 7th, which was good enough to get some European football. They're currently in the Europa League qualifying stages. And this is a team that isn't used to that kind of success. And I think over the past few years, if you've been following their ascent, it's something that should be able to continue. This game is at home for Granada. And last time they played Atletico Bilbao was the last game of the La Liga season back at the end of July. And they absolutely just thrashed them 4-0. And I don't know if Bilbao has what it takes to come back to secure a better result than that. Maybe a better losing result. Maybe they'll only lose by 1 or 2. But this is a Granada team that has some interesting signings. Luis Milla, Alberto Soro come in. And Atletico Bilbao, last year they finished their season 3-0-5, including losing 4 of their last 5 games and no new signings. That's mostly because Atletico Bilbao runs on a Basque-only policy, so they only sign and recruit players that are from their direct region, which obviously can make transfers pretty difficult, but it's something that they believe in, and that's part of their culture and their identity. And hey, they've been in La Liga for years and years, so it's working. But this season, it's going to be a struggle for them. So I'm going to take Granada at plus 180. I think they got what it takes. This is a game that I've had to go back and forth on quite a bit. I'm not ready to make my pick on it just yet. Again, got to refer you back over to either Twitter or Instagram if you want to see my pick for Eibar versus Celta Vigo. These were 2 teams that finished near the bottom of the table last year. And there's really not a whole lot to split between the 2 teams, so I'm going to deliberate a little bit more on that. But make sure you check it out on Twitter or Instagram. Now, our last La Liga game that we're going to be checking out this week is a line that I'm in love with. We got Levante versus Valencia. Now, I mentioned before about Granada trending in the right direction. Levante is the same exact thing. They're certainly trending up. Maybe not, they haven't had such an impressive jump as Granada has, but they're certainly moving up. And that's in stark contrast to Valencia, who, I mean, if there's any Valencia fans out there, they certainly consider Valencia one of the European giants. They have been a fixture over the past 2 years in Champions League as they've secured back-to-back 4th-place finishes. And this past season, we saw them drop all the way down into 9th place. Big reason for that is just ownership right now. Their owner just doesn't really give a shit about the team. It's unfortunate. He fired an incredibly productive manager due to winning the Copa del Rey the year before. So success gets you fired in Valencia. And this exodus of success has continued this offseason as they sold 4 key starters in Rodrigo, Ferran Torres, Dani Parejo, and Francis Cocaine. Between them, last year they had 112 starts, and specifically between Rodrigo, Ferran Torres, and Dani Parejo, they had 16 goals and 15 assists combined between the 3, and now that's just completely gone. Meanwhile, Levante has looked to strengthen their squad. They finished 12th last year. That was after back-to-back 15th place finishes and their first 2 seasons back up in La Liga. And they've signed guys, young, talented players like Jorge de Frutos, who had played in the Real Madrid Academy or for their B team for a period of time. Guys like Danny Gomez, who a midfielder who I like quite a bit. These are bargains who they're bringing in to grow with the squad, and they're just doing it the right way. Valencia, even though they did finish higher than Levante last year, Levante actually had a better goal differential. And this is the season that I think, that goal differential becomes a better standing in the table, and that starts on Sunday. So Levante plus 270. You can't underestimate the damage that's been done to this Valencia squad. And I think soon enough, as the season wears on, we're going to see that reflected in these lines. So grab plus 270 while you have the chance against them. So those are the games for this weekend. We're going to take a look at a few relegation props, a few top 4 props, and then everyone's favorite, 2 score props. So the first thing I'm checking out are my best bets to get relegated this season. I've got Brighton at plus 350, Fulham at plus 100, and Crystal Palace at plus 225. So over the last 8 seasons, at least one newly promoted team has been relegated their first season back up. I'm going to rock with Fulham. this season, I don't think they have the talent like a Leeds has or a West Brom has to possibly stay up. So I'm going to ride with them to go down at plus 100. They have the best odds to go down. And then Brighton and Crystal Palace, they've both staged off relegation over the past several seasons, been able to get mid-table. But this season, I think, is the season that Crystal Palace goes down. That offense was just disgusting last year. I think even with Easy in there, I think it'll definitely help. But you're going to need them to maintain an incredibly solid defense like they did last year. I don't know if that happens. That might regress a little bit. And if the defense regresses any more, that's more losses. So I think they go down. And then Brighton, I like at the plus 350. I think it's good value. I don't know if they have the offensive power to hang with some of the big boys in the Premier League or even some of the same mid-table teams. So that's why for value, I'm taking Brighton at plus 350. Next, taking a look over in La Liga, we got Alves going down at plus 200. They had the most losses of any team last year that didn't get sent down. Not too many departments were strengthened in this transfer window. So I expect them to go back down. And then similar logic, well, not even similar logic, but similar in La Liga, the Premier League, there's been a streak of newly promoted teams that go back down. Mallorca was the latest one. So that's why I've got to go with Cadiz and Elche at minus 118 and plus 150 respectively. I think the first season back up, it's going to be hard for them to compete with some of the other teams in La Liga, and they're going to be right back down where they started. So for these next few, these are my top 4 best bets. I only got a couple because I'm not going to mention the cities, the Liverpool, because of their outrageous odds. My best bet, though, for Premier League top 4, I like Tottenham at plus 300. Like I mentioned earlier in the show, Tottenham was incredible for the most part in their post-restart, going 5-3-1. Mourinho has had time to bring in some guys that play with the same kind of style he's looking for. And so could this be, can they compete with Chelsea, Man U, or one of some of those last 2 spots? Definitely for sure. Liverpool, we might talk about later on, because I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool, fell below second, which is where they're projected to go. So at plus 300, I think Tottenham has the ability to finish 4th. We'll see if all that firepower for Chelsea is enough to make up for any defensive lapses that might be there like they had last season. So that's why I'm hesitant to go with Chelsea. And then Man U. Man U's a great team. We saw them go on that incredible run at the end of last season. Donny van de Beek comes in. That's their major signing. We'll see if they have any more. I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to pull off a few more in the next couple weeks. So I'm going to hold my judgment on Man U for now. La Liga, though, we got 2 of them. I got Sevilla. You guys know that I love Sevilla. I think they've been one of the best values over the past 8 months there is out there. At minus 139, I think they should easily be able to slip into a top 4 spot next season. And then Villareal at plus 400. Villareal was able to finish 5th last year, and I think they're able to get a little higher. They made some great acquisitions, especially with Danny Parejo being the major one. And that's not it. They've made a lot of bolstering to their units. So I wouldn't be surprised if they finished above, say, Atletico Madrid, which up until the shutdown was languishing in 5th. They were not the kind of Diego Simeone top 4 team you've come to expect. They really struggled last year, and they were saved by getting results in their last 8 games against very weak teams. And Atletico hasn't done much to strengthen their offense. Their biggest hope is going to be that Joao Felix can break out of those struggles that he had in his first year in Madrid. So I'm going to take Sevilla and Villarreal. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Atletico falls to 5. And then obviously I'm taking Real and Barca. It's probably in top 2. So next two bets we got going on: Premier League top scorer, La Liga top scorer. Premier League, I got two guys who I think are good value to claim it this year. Harry Kane at plus 550 and Timo Werner at plus 900. So last year, Harry Kane, 18 goals in 29 games, missed 9 games due to a hamstring injury. And that's kind of been the story over the past couple of years for Harry Kane. He's gotten injured, had to miss long periods of time. But once he's in his form and he's healthy, he's the same Harry Kane that led the Premier League in goals 3-4 years ago. If he can stay healthy, there's no reason. I don't think he can. I don't think he can't claim another one. He scored in his final 3 games in the Premier League at the end of last season, once he seemed comfortable and back in game shape. Then looking over at Timo Werner, one of the most skilled goal scorers to come into the Premier League this season. Last year, he had 28 goals over in the Bundesliga, which was good enough for second behind Robert Lewandowski. Timo Werner, his first time on the field for Chelsea in a friendly, he scored. They have so much attacking talent, whether it be on the flanks or in midfield, to feed Werner the ball, that he should be able to score a healthy amount of goals and enough to possibly lead the league. For quite a while, at the beginning of last season, we saw Tammy Abraham with the Premier League leading goals until his form fell off. So if Tammy Abraham can do that for Chelsea in that position, replacing Werner in there, I think could be huge. And just it could be impressive what we could see out of this Chelsea front four. And then last but not least, we're going to take a look over at La Liga top scorer. And there's not much to say here. It's Messi. It's Messi. So, yeah, I'm Messi at minus 200. Are there, dark horses out there? Yeah. But where's the smart money going to go? It's going to go to Messi. That's where I think the money you make is going to come from. Messi's led the La Liga in scoring 7 times. He's led it in the past 3 years. Even though last year was his lowest total of any of the times he's led La Liga, he only scored 25 times, only 25. And it's going to probably be a tumultuous season, I'm sure, but he still should be in a position to score most of the goals for Barcelona, whether it be from set pieces, whether it be from penalties, and obviously just from, gameplay. So Messi at minus 200, that's who we're going to roll with. And, like I talked about last time, guys, today's Wednesday, so Celtics are playing, and you know what I got. BetQL, 20% off with promo code Rotz. For football, basketball, hockey, this is where I go. This is where I get my information from. This is where I get my wins from. BetQL can help you out. Just let it help you out. It eventually pays for itself, I can tell you that. And if you want any more picks, some mediocre commentary, or some memes, check me out at Twitter at Gary Danzo or Instagram at FairPlayQL. That's where you can find me throughout the week. That's it for today, guys. We'll be back on Monday at 8 o'clock with some more picks. Right now, we're 36, 16, and 1. Let's keep it rolling. I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.